for joining the second session of our 2021 Technology Partner Webinar Series. My name is Laurent Dupuis, and I'm in charge of Schneider Electric Technology Partner Programs for Energy Management Division and for the promotion of our collaboration with technology partners. And in this capacity, I'm happy to present to you today this Technology Partner Webinar that is organized by Control C, one of our certified partners for BMS. And I hope that you will enjoy the session. This is a series of webinars that we have started earlier this year. We intend to have about once a month till the end of the year, eventually more. And I obviously invite you, if you are interested in such webinars, to join Exchange and to subscribe to the notification on the events and webinar page, where you will be informed when of the new webinars that may be organized in the future. This said, I will hand over actually the call to Michael, and just maybe before that, I will actually ask Jesper Bowman, who is also working in Schneider, and you may know him. He's responsible for our SmartConnector framework and technology, which is the core of the discussion that we will have today. And we have asked him to say a few words to introduce SmartConnectors and most importantly to introduce Control C. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
That's better. All right, here we go. Hi guys. So I'm Jeff Bowman. I'm a developer, a senior developer, and a team lead inside the CTO office in digital buildings in Schneider Electric. I've been at Schneider Electric for almost 13 years now. My role has changed. I started as a QA guy, and I converted myself into a developer later on. I am primarily focused on developing the SmartConnector framework today, as well as leading up some thought leadership, writing some white papers, etc. in the CTO office. I'm happy to make this introduction for the Technology Partner Webinar today. The context of it being smart buildings, connectivity, and Schneider Electric, using SmartConnector as that open platform to support technology partners and allowing them to write their own extensions and applications to integrate their own data in and out of our ecosystem. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to Michael with Control C, who's been doing a lot of work over the last few years. I've been working a lot with Michael, developing different generally OPC connectivity to EBO. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Europe. My name is Michael Meirovitz, VP Sales at Control C. We have developed actually three products for the SmartConnector. In this presentation, I will show you two of them. So let's start. So a little bit about the SmartConnector software before we start. Both of the solutions you're going to see today are based on the Schneider Electric's SmartConnector. So what is SmartConnector? SmartConnector is a middleware software and a development platform. It helps to connect Schneider Electric building management system with third-party systems and data sources. It can be used with EBO EcoStruxure building operation, PSO, PME, and soon the security expert as well. Okay, so what is OPC? OPC is used for connectivity between systems. OPC uses client-server architecture. There are OPC servers and there are OPC client software. OPC is a standard for secure and reliable exchange of data in the industrial automation space and also in other industries. OPC is platform independent and ensures the seamless flow of information among devices from multiple vendors. The OPC standard is a series of specifications. These specifications define the interface between clients and servers. These include access to real-time data, monitoring of alarms and events, and access to historical data, as well as to other applications. OPC servers and clients can share data without any development effort. So if you have a software that is OPC Client, it can connect with any OPC server without any development effort. There are two main OPC specifications. One is OPC DA. DA stands for data access, which is not secured. DCOM is required. DCOM is a protocol, is required to connect to remote computers. So if your OPC client and OPC server are not running on the same server, you need to set the DCOM settings and to open holes in your security. And DCOM requires that your firewall is turned off. So this is not such a good thing. The newer specification is OPC Ua, stands for Unified Architecture. And this protocol is secured, firewall friendly. It can work over firewall, and DCOM is not required at all. It requires certificates. So without certificate, the OPC client software won't be able to connect with the OPC server software. There are more than 500 OPC servers and clients to connect with. So there are many software that support OPC, and this opens opportunities. The OPC client and the OPC server can run on the same server. As you can see here, the server and the client are running on the same computer. So this is the easy case. When talking about OPC DA and the client and the server are not running on the same server, they are running on different servers on the network. Again, you need DCOM to change your DCOM settings, or if you want to avoid using DCOM, you may use OPC Tunneler. But OPC Tunneler software requires more licenses and additional cost is associated. The OPC Ua server and the OPC Ua client can work on different servers. However, certificates are required on both servers. Why do I need OPC? Connectivity. This is the word. Different systems can work together. Control C offers two products for the EBO, OPC products for the EBO. The first product is the EBO-OPC Client. The EBO-OPC Client enables EBO systems to access third-party applications information in real time. The Opc Server enables third-party software to access the EBO data, values, and alarm statuses in real time. So it's the opposite direction to the client. Using these products, you can connect the EBO with hundreds of systems. The two products are available on Exchange, so you can access the SmartConnectorServer.com or Exchange and download these products and try it. Here you can see the system architecture of the EBO-OPC server. You have your EBO system, you have the SmartConnector system, and there is an extension developed by Control C that is embedded inside the SmartConnector, which actually this is the EBO-OPC server extension. On the right-hand side, you can see different third-party clients that can access the EBO data. For example, reporting tools, databases, SCADA HMI, other BMS systems, Linux systems, and embedded devices. All of these systems are OPC clients, and they can interact with your EBO without any development effort. The main features of the EBO-OPC server are: share your EBO values / points with any third-party OPC, DA, or Ua client, or disable third-party DA OPC client to modify EBO values. Enable or disable third-party OPC DA clients to force or unforce EBO values. Share your EBO alarm statuses with any third-party OPC DA Ua client system. And now I'll mention two projects that are using the EBO-OPC server. The first project is in Amsterdam, in a data center in Amsterdam. Was developed by a Schneider Electric EcoXpert partner. And it connects the EBO system with the customer's DSIM system. So this is one project. The second project is in the USA. I don't know if Mason, are you with us? Mason Flag?
Yes, yes, I am.
Hi, Mason. As you can see,
Hi.
your project is here, and maybe you can tell us a few words about your experience and what kind of implementation you did.
So yeah, so the whole thing is they have this bed kiosk thing that they can change the television around. But I guess this is in the patient room, so they can also see the space temperature in the room, and they can actually change the set point from the kiosk. Actually, are in the process right now. Actually, setting up the server was pretty easy. Really, we just had to go through a lot of the settings because it was a hospital environment, and they had a lot of things locked down. We ended up using the Ua client because of the decon, that whole decon thing he was just talking about. So that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, Mason. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is the second project question so far?
Yes, yes, there is one in the chat for you.
Okay. Can you, Alexei, can you explain what HL7 is? The question is integration to
it's a standard for
have integration to HL7.
HL7 is a standard for interconnection of systems in the healthcare domain.
I see. Well, it depends if this system supports OPC connectivity, OPC client interface, or server. So it depends. I really don't know about this specific system. We need to check it.
So we'll take this question and then we'll answer it in Exchange, and then we'll after the webinar you can find this webinar in Exchange where you registered for it, and then we'll answer all the questions.
Okay, so which OPC server should I choose? I would say that you should always prefer an OPC server that supports OPC DA and OPC Ua, because you can't tell in advance if the OPC client is a DA client or a UA client. So if you choose an OPC server that support both, you're covered. I would prefer an OPC server that supports UA, because UA is secure and DA is not. UA is easier over network, firewalls, no need for decom. I would prefer a server that runs as a Windows service, because services bring several benefits. It is running before you log in. You can define dependency services for this specific service. And recovery in case of errors is much better. So the main benefits of the EBO-OPC server are: share your EBO information with any OPC client system, easy implementation, installation and configuration within minutes. It runs as a Windows service. It offers high performance because there is no polling. The SmartConnector receives change notifications from the SmartConnector. So there is no polling, and the CPU consumption is really low. Automatic reconnection with the EBO/EWS and with the OPC clients. If a system is disconnected, the connection will be done automatically. It supports unlimited values. It was tested with more than 20,000 values. It supports soft licenses and support multiple OPC clients. Data can be modified by the OPC clients optionally. You can see this checkbox here in red that you can check or uncheck if you want to enable your clients to modify EBO values. OPC Ua support multi-platform clients. OPC Ua easy to use, no need for DCOM. OPC Ua firewall friendly while addressing security concerns. And now I shall explain how do I import my EBO values / points into the EBO-OPC server. So what I need to do is to log into the SmartConnector local portal and simply click on the start. There is the discovery processor. All I need to do is start this arrow. Once I do that, the discovery processor starts and all the values are available for the OPC client to browse, select, and view in any OPC clients. The discovery processor scans all the connected controllers and retrieves all the values that are defined in the EBO and in the remote controllers. Opc Ua Security Aspects. The Opc Ua server supports standard security by using certificates. So certificates need to be trusted by the client and the server. The Opc Ua client should create a certificate and place it in the right place, in the right folder. Once it is placed in the right folder, the OPC client is able to connect with the EBO-OPC server. Without a certificate, the Opc Ua client will not be able to connect. As you can see here, a client without a certificate is trying to connect with the EBO and gets an error. To conclude, what do I need to start using the EBO-OPC server? I need the Windows operating system, of course. I need Schneider Electric EBO 1.9 or higher. I need the enterprise server 1.9 or higher. Schneider Electric SmartConnector. SQL Server or SQL Server Express. This is required by the SmartConnector system. I need the EBO-OPC server and the SmartConnector extension. So before I switch to the demo, if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer before I start the demo. No questions? Okay, I see one
Yes,
question
there
here.
is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The question is by Carl. What are the bandwidth usage on the SE, on the ES, and also how many connections are limited? Jeff, can you answer this question?
The bandwidth usage on the ES, how many connections are limited? So we're talking about the connections from the clients to the through SmartConnector to EBO. How many connections are limited? So I think Michael was saying there's no limitation on the amount of OPC clients.
Correct.
So I think that's the answer there. Obviously, what's the bandwidth? Yeah, I'd have to performance test if they really give you an answer there. But if you're getting 20,000 points plus in multiple clients, I think in most cases that will suffice. I don't know what the bandwidth usage on the ES would be. It really would depend on the implementation of the OPC extension, how often it's pulling values from EBO. But if it's using subscriptions, it shouldn't be too much on EBO. So it should be fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
are
you.
there going to be any published recommendations?
I'm sorry, Carl, can you repeat that?
Are there going to be any published recommendations?
Michael, are there any published recommendations on how this is done? How many, what the client, how many clients, etc.?
There is no limit, and I'm not sure I understand the question, but there is no limit on the number of clients that you can use with the EBO-OPC server.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So what we see now is the EBO, and we see one temperature of the 10th floor, which is 21. we can see one OPC client. This is actually Metricon OPC Explorer, which is used for testing and simulation. It's not a real client, it's just for simulation. So this is one client, and I have your additional client, which is called Opc Ua Expert. And this is also for testing purposes and simulation. So you can see that the same value, that is the 10th floor temperature, is 21 in both OPC clients. So we have two OPC clients, and we have the OPC server, the Ebo-Opc Server. So what I will do now, I will change the value from 21 to, let's say, 35. So once I change the value to 35, we can see that both clients are showing the value of 35. And you can see also here an indication about the force state, and the force state currently is unforced. So what I'll do now, I shall force this value. So you can see that the state now changes to forced in both clients. Okay, so let's and you can see something else. You can see that the alarm based on this value is 1, meaning the alarm is on. As you can see here, the red color, which means the alarm is on. So what I'll do, I'll modify. Maybe I can change it from here. So instead of 35, I will set it to 21. I've changed the values through the client, and you see that the alarm state is now 0. So we saw all the functionalities of the client to show an alarm state, to show a value, and to show a force state. It is also possible to force the value within the OPC client. So if I want to force this value, so let's do it. Let's force the value to 26, let's say. So you see that now the force state is forced. And if you look here, you see that it is forced here as well in the EBO. So I'm able to force, unforce values within the OPC client, of course, if I'm allowed to do it. So I'll do an unforce. Now it's unforced, and the value is 21. Questions so far regarding the demonstration? Is everything clear? Okay, if no questions, I shall switch to the, let's see, we have one question. Is there any additional, the question is by Sati Noor. Is there any additional licensing requirements to use connector? I assume you're asking about the SmartConnector, right, Sati? Yes, there is a cost associated with the SmartConnector. Jeff, would you like to add regarding this?
Sure, yeah. So there's a license requirement for the SmartConnector framework, as well as a license required, I believe, for your extension, Michael, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, but on the EBO side, as far as I'm aware, there's no additional license requirements. So it's just on the SmartConnector side.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so now we can switch to the EBO-OPC client. So here you can see the system architecture of the EBO-OPC client. Again, you have your EBO system. You have your EBO-OPC client SmartConnector extension, which is part of the SmartConnector system. And this SmartConnector extension is actually an EWS server. So the EBO is the client that retrieves value from the EWS server. So what you see here on the right-hand side, you can see third-party OPC servers, different servers like OPC Server for KNX devices, OPC Server for LVAR Lightning, OPC Server for Johnson controls, OPC Server for Delta PLCs, OPC for Cone elevators, OPC Server for Bosch security, and OPC Ua in general for embedded devices or IoT. So the EBO OPC client can connect with any of these server, retrieve the data, again running in subscription mode. So only when there is a change in the EBO OPC in the OPC servers, only then the value is sent to the OPC client and then show displayed in the EBO. So what are the main benefits of the EBO OPC client? You can view third-party OPC server data in your EBO system. The implementation is easy. The installation and configuration is done within minutes. It runs in the background as a SmartConnector extension that is an EWS server. It offers high performance, again, because there is no polling. It offers automatic reconnection with disconnected OPC servers. It supports unlimited values and points depending on the amount of memory that you have on your computer. It supports soft license, SmartConnector license. It supports multiple OPC server connection, local or remote. OPC servers data can be modified in the EBO optionally. All OPC servers are supported both DA and UA. OPC Ua is easy to use, no need for DCOM, firewall friendly while addressing security concerns. And now we can see how this is done, how this is configured. So in the EBO OPC client configuration tool, there is a screen that you can define your OPC servers. In this case, you see OPC DA server. So we have here 3 OPC DA servers, Metricon simulation, Graybox, Top server, all of them are simulation server in this case. Or it may be an OPC Ua server, here in this case by integration object, also a simulation server, but this time it is a Ua server. Then in the configuration program, you can see all the connected OPC servers and you can define groups. In each group, you can add OPC items. So you simply click on the button Add Items. You see a tree of your OPC server. You select the right OPC items and add them. And then you can see the values of these OPC items. The OPC client is started automatically. It defines as runs on start. And you can also stop-start the SmartConnector within the configuration, the EBO-OPC client configuration. So you don't need to go to the SmartConnector portal, log in, and restart the SmartConnector when required. You need to restart the SmartConnector service each time you add values, EBO OPC points, OPC values into the EBO OPC clients. Once the EWS server is created by the EBO OPC client extension, EWS server, so what you need to do is to host your EWS server in the EBO, inside the EBO. So you need to create a web service interface. You need to set the EWS server properties like EWS communication port, which is always 5300, the username and the password, and then you need to host the EWS objects, and you have the EBO OPC server, EBO OPC client, EWS server hosted in your EBO system. And you can see all the values inside the EBO. What you can see in addition to the values, of course, the values is clear. you can see the entire tree, and you can see the state of each value, which may be good or maybe error state. So you need to be able to see if the value displayed is a correct value, or maybe it's in error state, you should ignore this value. In the EBO, in the graphics, you also have an indication about an error state. If the value, like here, 37, is in error state, then you see a red notification that the quality of the state is incorrect. When the quality is good, you see the value without the red sign. Question so far?
No questions in the chat.
I see one question from Mason.
No, it's a proposition from Mason to show a live UA client if anyone is interested.
UA client, yes. We'll see in the demo. We'll start the demo. You should see a UA client. But actually now we saw the UA client in the for the EBO-OPC server, where we saw the temperature of the 10th floor in the UA client. Let me show you. So this is the UA client, and you see that it is connected with the EBO-OPC server, and you see the value 21, which is the value in the EBO. Okay, so an OPC client is used when you're using the OPC server. Now we are talking about the OPC client. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was just my wasn't really a question. I was just wondering. I'm actually connected live to that system that you were talking about.
Yes.
And I can actually show, like, right down to the MP controller how quickly it changes set point. If anybody was interested.
So would you like me to make you a presenter so you can show it to us?
Sure.
Okay. Mason Flag, I'm going to make you the presenter so you can show it to us.
Okay.
Can anyone see a Mason screen?
Yes.
So this is this is actually one of the this is a consumer value down at the VAV box level. So this is the bed temp set point for this one controller, and this is actually a live this is actually a live room. So we're going to do so he had showed you earlier the UA client. So let me get that. So we get this UA client here. So if we take this, see if I can get my mouse there. Change the if we change the set point to 70. And then we go back here. We'll refresh. Changes almost instantaneously. So it's a direct control. And actually, I have it set up so they can't change the set point outside of 68 to 75, just so they don't overheat the place. I have software in there to take care of that. That's really all I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you that it worked.
Yeah, thank you, Mason. Is this the real? Is it the hospital connected right now?
Yeah, that's actually it's a real it's a real real site.
Very nice.
So we changed the UA. Actually, I have the UA running on my machine locally, and it's going to the OPC server that's in their data farm, and then it goes to this going to the ES to this terminal box.
So the OPC server and the the OPC client are running on different computers.
That's correct. Yeah, I can actually, I can even get more, I'm actually, can you see my, you can't see everything. That's all right. No worries. I can't open up the server too. I was going to show you that as well.
Okay, but we
Sorry.
see the graphic image from Newton Wellesley Hospital.
Yep.
Very nice. Any questions to Mason?
No question. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mason.
That's all I got.
So I'm going to make myself as the presenter again.
Okay. It's all yours.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we saw the values in the EBO and the state. Licensing. The licensing is based on the SmartConnector licensing. And the product is available on smartconnectorserver.com and also on Exchange. You can get your 30 days evaluation license. So what do I need to start using the EBO OPC client before we switch to the demonstration? We need the Windows operating system, of course, Schneider Electric EBO, very similar to the OPC server, enterprise server, SmartConnector, MS SQL Server or MS SQL Server Express. You can use Express with no problem, so you don't need to purchase any software. It's free. You need the EBO-OPC client. And before I switch to the demonstration, I would like to thank you for attending this webinar. The recording will be available for replay on Exchange with answer to the questions not answered during the webinar. So let's switch to the demonstration. Okay, so we have here another graphics where you can see values coming from 3 OPC servers. The first OPC server is the Metricon OPC server. And you can see here another client. Actually, what you see here, this is a OPC client, and the EBO is actually also an EBO, an OPC client in this case. So you can see values from this server. So let's connect to the Metricon simulation server. And now we can see the values 11, 12, and these are random values that are changing every 1 second. So what we can do, we can modify these values, the 2 values that are steady, within the EBO. So let's change these values from 11 to 20. So you can see the value changes in the other OPC client and in the server, of course. And let's change this one to 30. So you can see the value change in the OPC server to 30, or if we change it in the OPC server to 25, it is changed here to 25 as well. 25, let's say this one should be 17. So we see both directions. The values can be viewed in the EBO and also change from the EBO. Similarly, we can go to the other OPC server, which is the Kepler server, and we see these values at the bottom, the Kepler OPC server. So we can modify all of them within the other client. So we'll change the values in the server. So let's change it to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. Values are changed within one client, changed in the server, and in the EBO, you can see the values are changed in the server. The other OPC, the third OPC server is a UA server. You can see this server here. This is a UA server, and this is the one that the EBO OPC client is connected with. And now I would like to show you the recovery. So what I'm going to do something nasty. I'm going to stop two of the OPC servers by stopping their equivalent services. So the first service I'm going to stop is the Kepler service. So I'm going to stop it. Once I stop it, you will see immediately that you see an indication of an error, red square around the value. And the second one will be the Matricon OPC server for simulation. I'm going to stop it as well. Stopped. Immediately you see that the value is with this red square, meaning error. So while we are waiting, the EBO OPC client tries to reconnect with the OPC server. As you can see, currently the server is not running, it's stopped. I can start it, but I will not do it. I will wait for the OPC client to reconnect. And the nice thing is that the OPC client can start the service while it is connecting to it. So while we are waiting for the connection to be reestablished, I will show you the configuration program of the EBO OPC client. So let's log in. Sorry. Okay. So while we are doing that, you can see that the connection with Kepler was reestablished. And we are also with the Matricon, and we see random values coming from Matricon. If we go to the services window and we do a refresh, we see that the service, the Matricon service, is running. So the client was able to reestablish the connection with the server automatically. Okay, so let's go back to the configuration program. So we see that we have 3 OPC server. 2 of them are DA server and 1 is UA server. And in each OPC server, you can define groups with different OPC items. And you can see also the EBO OPC client in the EBO. You can see the 3 OPC servers, Kepler, Matricon, and Process, which is a UA server. And you can see the values. Okay, so if I want to add or remove an OPC server, I need to go to settings, select the right OPC server, browse for additional one or add an additional one. You see 1 OPC UA server, 2 OPC DA servers, and this is what I wanted to show you in the configuration. This is the main part of the configuration. You can back up and restore your application at any time to keep your configuration. And I'm ready for your questions.
You mentioned that a SQL would need to be installed, SQL Express. What is the SQL being used for?
Jeff, can you answer this question regarding the why do we need the SQL Server for SmartConnector?
Yeah, so SmartConnector is configuration, like where all the EWS server information is served, saved. All the processor configurations are saved. That's all saved in the SmartConnector, in the SQL Server. It can be a SQL Express. You don't need a full install.
Jeff, I have a question for you regarding this.
Yep.
Is there a chance that there will be in the future a SmartConnector version that will not require a SQL Server and the definitions will be saved in a different format?
It's not on the roadmap.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but again, the SQL is not being used heavily. It's just for the configuration settings. That's all.
Yeah, in the EWS server. So if you're using the OPC client to bring the data from OPC into EBO, then it's all that data is saved in the SQL database.
You mean the EWS data? EWS server?
Yeah, the EWS objects. Yeah,
All of them are saved in SQL.
Yep. So all those objects that you have that are being read by EBO are being saved inside of SmartConnector SQL database.
I see. Okay. Any other questions regarding the EBO-OPC client or server?
Yes, you have a question in the chat.
Okay, the question is from Khalil. How is the licensing policy of the OPC client? Will we pay license fee for each OPC client connection? You need just one license for the OPC client software or EBO-OPC client interface, but there is no limit on the number of OPC server you can connect with. If you have a license for the EBO-OPC client, you can connect with many servers as you want. There is no limitation. And yes, you need a license for the EBO-OPC client. My pleasure. Any other questions? You didn't ask the most important question. How much? Just joking. Okay, a question from Daniel. This license is a Schneider part number. Not sure I understand. Maybe Loren, maybe do you understand the question?
I imagine that I imagine the question is whether this license is sold through a Schneider catalog. The answer would be no. It's a Control C product sold by Control C via exchange.
Yes.
How to buy it? Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, it's your. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, so you can purchase this product in the Schneider Electric marketplace. Loren, can you share with us the URL of the marketplace so people can find it?
Yeah, I just put in the chat. I put the link to all the products of Control C that are in the marketplace. There are 4 today, and then when you visit those 3.
Yes, 3 of them.
No, you have UCB SmartConnector, UCB for SCADA.
But three EBO products.
Correct, 3 EBO products, and so they are here in the marketplace. So you can visit the pages, and then within each of these pages, you can actually start a free trial and also purchase online the license. All of this is managed after that in the background by Michael.
Thank you, Loren.
We have a question a little bit earlier, just before I post the link. So how to buy it, I think I just answered. But then there were another question that is there a limit for number of smart connectors that can be run?
I think this is a question for Jeff.
Yes, I'll answer that. So I'm assuming you're asking if there's a limit for the number of smart connectors that can be run on a single PC. There's no hard-coded limit. Obviously, it's limited to the resources of your PC. You know, inside a SmartConnector, you have by default, we have what we call processor threads, and that is how many threads are actually being used to run custom code. By default, there's 5. That can be increased as you need it. Obviously up to the max of whatever your PC will consume. The EWS server stuff, so like the OPC stuff, that's done separately. So it really depends on the resources on your machine. There's no hard-coded limitations.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I see another question from Carl. Will the slide deck shown today be available to view later? Yes, yes, indeed. Loren, how we are going to send the link for the presentation, or it will be on the exchange?
So we'll find a way. The video will be on replay in exchange, and then for this slide decks, we'll find a way to make it available if you wish so. On exchange.
Okay. Any other question before we conclude? Thank you, Carl. Okay, so to conclude, first of all, I want to thank you again for joining and attending this webinar. I was glad to show you these products, and if you visit the marketplace, you can see another product for the EBO for alarm notification. I think that these two products, for the EBO-OPC Server and EBO-OPC Clients, opens many opportunities for customers who need, we're looking for integrations with different systems, and it opens opportunities for system integrators as well as for Schneider Electric and for Control C. So we'll be glad to have you as our partners and customers, and thank you again. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you all, and hope you have the links in the chat for more webinars. Just hit the subscribe button and then you will receive notification. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, and bye-bye.